everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the opening night of the Tibet Film Festival London. My name is Dechan Pemba. I'm one of the co-founders of the festival in London. And I just wanted to say quickly that the Tibet Film Festival was founded in 2008 in Zurich, Switzerland. And the main reason behind starting this film festival was a campaign for an imprisoned Tibetan filmmaker. And he filmed over 100 interviews with ordinary Tibetans about their views of the Olympic Games, about what was happening in Tibet. And he released it in the run-up to the Olympic Games and was imprisoned for 6 years for making this film. So the film festival was started in Zurich as a way to keep his activism alive, to celebrate his creativity through resistance. So that's a little bit of background about the festival. Before we begin the proceedings, I wanted to acknowledge this evening that Her Excellency Madam Wangyal is here, who is the representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the UK and many other European countries, which is very fitting given the topic of the film this evening. And then also Chris Law MP is here, who is the chair of the all-party parliamentary group. And we're also very honoured to have the Vice Chancellor of the University of Westminster, which is the home of this beautiful cinema, Dr. Peter Wangyal. Hi, my name is Kunsang. I'm also one of the co-founders of the Tibet Film Festival in London. We've been doing the film festival in London since 2019. And just like in Zurich, the festival takes place in Zurich, London, Berlin, and Darmstadt. So in all of these different places, we have volunteer teams that make up the group of people that put these festivals together, which are really great. So if you haven't had a chance to pick up a postcard, which has all of the information for our events this week, we have screenings throughout the week. The screening on Saturday for State of Statelessness is already sold out, but we still have availability for our other events. And we're really just so excited and grateful to have the chance to have this film as our opening of our festival in London, and just very thankful to the directors and Richard and everyone else who pulled this together very quickly. But thank you for coming, and we really hope you enjoy the film. We invite you after the film to stay on for the Q&A. So we'll have the two directors, Barbara and Philip, of the film joining us for the Q&A, along with Tenzin, who's the president of the International Campaign for Tibet, and of course the executive producer of this film, and the very exciting special guest, Richard Gere, will join for that. And it will be moderated by Rani Singh, who is a broadcast journalist, and she has her own personal, very beautiful connection to Tibet and His Holiness. So I think it's going to be a very special evening. Please enjoy the film, and we'll see you afterwards for the Q&A. Thank you.
Welcome to Richard Gere, please. And we have Barbara Miller, one of the directors. Gere, President of the International Campaign. One word of your response to the film, please.
Humbling.
Humbling. And pass it on. Pass the mic.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Emotional.
Emotional.
Powerful.
Powerful.
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
Hopeful.
Hopeful.
Provoking.
Provoking.
Profound.
Profound. Give them a big hand, please.
I think that was real. That wasn't, you weren't giving those lines, were you? No, it's so sweet to hear that, you know, and those kind of, it comes from a warm place in your hearts. And we've seen this film dozens of times with audiences, and that kind of warm feeling of openness at the end of this film, wherever we play it. It has nothing to do with culture, language, proximity to anything else. And I've noticed too that there's a feeling in the room that radically changes, and kind of possibility that we actually might have a shared vision of what we want the world to be. And to spend an hour and a half with His Holiness like this, it feels possible, doesn't it? It feels real. It feels we can make that happen. What an extraordinary thing.
Do you want to have another line now?
Sure.
Okay, all right, where are the mics? Well, let's give another line. The audience weren't prepared, they didn't know. Quickly, please. What is it?
Deeply touching.
Deeply touching.
I felt at home. I've been
You felt at
this
home. Oh,
Ah.
you felt at home.
Sweet.
Peaceful.
Peaceful.
Hardship.
Hardship. Hardship.
Evocative.
Evocative.
Opening.
Opening.
I would say urgent.
Urgent.
Common sense.
Common sense.
Blessed.
Blessed. So that's another set of spontaneous reactions from the London audience. What brought you to this film? When did you get involved with it?
It feels like about 10 years now, doesn't it? But it was about a year and a half ago. And the quick version of this is that I was aware of this film being made. And there are a lot of films that have been made about His Holiness, and everyone wants to make a film. Everyone falls in love and wants to spread the news. And I'm a little skeptical of these things, because sometimes it's not great filmmakers, or they don't maybe understand the full depth of what His Holiness is trying to do. So they came to me after they had a very, very good cut. It was a very good rough cut, and came to New York about a year and a half ago, and showed it to me and my wife. My wife was dissolved in tears seeing the film, and I was very moved. And I had some ideas, humbly, that I thought maybe would make it a little better, maybe. And so we started talking about that, and they'd asked me to be involved. And so basically, I brought in a friend of mine, Oren Moverman, who I've made 6 films with, and we basically played in New York with an editor, and we brought in a new composer, added quite a bit of footage to the film, and then started the collaboration amongst all of us to arrive at the film that we have now. But I really think that there's something, the central interview with His Holiness, that unbelievable footage of His Holiness looking right into the camera, is completely unique. Never happened before, it will never happen again. And His Holiness being there, so present, so active, leaning forward almost all the time, leaning towards each one of us individually, is just extraordinary, extraordinary footage. And with all the other footage, the wonderful archival footage, a lot of which no one has ever seen before, and I'm sure they'll tell you the story where they found it. But I just thought it was a unique and extraordinary opportunity, especially in His Holiness's 90th year. Got to be a centerpiece of celebrating this extraordinary life, meaningful life. I can't imagine a more meaningful life than he has had and what he's given everyone on this small planet. So I'm deeply proud to be part of it, and we've had such a wonderful collaboration that even the making of the film also has had this real joy and openness to it.
Thank you. So can you tell us a bit more precisely about your involvement, because it really was, I mean, it's such a beautifully put together film, and the technical aspects, I'm sure the directors will tell us about the uniqueness, but you really were closely involved even on the technical side and other things. So please do talk further and about the music, which I'm sure you will agree was stunning.
I don't want to program too much of your experience of it, so I don't want to get into too much of the technique of it. But we really felt, we wanted to make this a very human experience. So if there was a choice to be made to see His Holiness as a kind of a deity figure, or to make him as human as possible, we wanted to make him human. This is a human being who's worked on himself incredibly. Continues to. He's still getting up at 3:30 in the morning to practice for many, many hours. This is a man who's completely dedicated himself, working on his mind and his heart the way a great pianist works on his technique at the piano. It's not easy and takes that kind of extraordinary emotional, psychological commitment to do that, and to present him also with a sense of humor and a sense of lightness about everything, although he's had a very difficult life. We felt like that would touch us and you much more, to see him as us, as recognizable as us, not other than us. He's the good version of us.
Thank you. How is his health, by the way? How is the health of His Holiness?
Well, we were just there, Tensho and I were there for his birthday, July 6th. And well, it was amazing. If anybody else was there? There's so many people here. I see Tibetans here. Was anybody else there up here? It was an amazing event. His Holiness was participating and seemed to be enjoying it greatly, seeing old friends from all over the world. There were performers, kids that were performing. There was one who was doing a Michael Jackson routine for him. And there was a K-pop group from Korea. And, you know, some folk artists and poets that were declaiming and being kind of silly and ridiculous. It was a festival and a carnival and an appreciation and great entertainment. His Holiness was really enjoying it. We all did. It was very emotional, as you would expect. The love and affection that we all have for His Holiness, such deep respect. So there was an outpouring of emotion and openness. It led us to actually do a lot of other interviews. Tensho and I and other friends did a series of interviews that will come out some other time with some of the key players in the Tibetan community. And I'm sure we'll present it back here, maybe in the same hall at some point.
We look forward to that.
But His Holiness he's a 90-year-old man. You know, so of course his knees are going, and maybe he's a little slower than he was before, but the mind is still so extraordinary. His ability to teach is still so extraordinary. And the presence of him is still so extraordinary, so vast. Just to be in his presence is, you know, it was 45 years ago the first time I saw him, and he was like a young rock star at that point. He was so vital and beautiful and young. He's 90 years old, but he still has that power, that extraordinary power. So I was very fortunate to be there on that 90th.
Indeed. Now this is a question for you, Richard, but I'd like others to pitch in where they feel it's appropriate. What would you like to achieve with this film?
Why don't we start the other end and come back to me? Because I've been talking too much. Go down there and start.
Tenzin.
Yes, I think for me, as His Holiness doesn't travel around so much, I think this film offers a chance for people around the world to have that 1.5 hours
Yes.
moment with him. And especially in this time when there is so many things and chaos and everything, turning upside down in our world. So in that time, to have this wisdom and these lessons put forward for us, I think we grew up, at a time when we had many teachers like that. But these days, it's hard to find visionary teachers who really think of others before anything. And to have that ability is really powerful, and I hope this film will live long in theaters. So for that, we need audience engagement. So it's so great to see you all, and we hope it'll come to UK and you'll bring all your friends and families as well.
Thank you, Tenzin.
It's a big honor to be here, and our goal was to do just what you described, and what we have seen so far. It works really good in Central Europe. We were so happy to be with you last week in New York, and the audience was amazing. Response has been so good, and it's going to be a long journey, and it's going to play in libraries, in universities, and all around the world, even in Taiwan. The film will show it also in Australia, all around the world, opening in Mexico. And it's a privilege to be part of it. And when it comes to why did we do it this way, maybe because we are Swiss, but we were looking at all existing films. It's 86 featured documentaries. And that doesn't include TV shows or TV docs, but 86. So they were all, as you said, they all have something in common, so we didn't want to repeat. That's why now he's looking directly to you, and it's exactly what you're saying. He cannot travel, but the film can travel, and this experience that he's not only talking, but I hope you felt it the same way. He's kind of understanding or feeling, or something is happening, should be immersive, and it's made for you, so you should tell us how it feels or how it works. But again, for us, it's a big privilege, and we're small parts of a huge chain of connections, and to sit here and be a little helper of a big thing that can be used in many ways, educational, political, emotional, wisdom, transfer of cultural heritage. It's a big privilege, so I'm very grateful.
It was really, really moving what you shared. I mean, I was almost in tears, because this is exactly what we wanted to bring to the audience. This old knowledge, but for our modern world, because we think that the world so much needs this knowledge and this love and this compassion, and this interest perspective for each and every one of us to see, how do I feel, how are my emotions moving, how can I improve my inner life, my life with my family, and also maybe help to change the world. So it was really moving what you said, how the film inspired you. And I think it started a long journey, and we hope it still has a long journey, because this knowledge shouldn't be lost. It should be really, really the core essence of our lives, and of our thoughts, and of our goals in life. So it's really wonderful that we were able to do this film and to share it with all of you.
Something happened in the year and a half that I've been involved. And as I said, my initial thought was this is a centerpiece for this 90th birthday celebration. This whole year kind of, in my mind, was revolving around this movie. But the world that we all share and live in has become so fractured and so crazy over these last year and a half, 2 years. I mean, in America, everything is upside down. I know you feel the same here in Europe. There's really dark forces are taking over, and we're becoming normalized. We're habituated to this. The film means more to me now than just a testament to His Holiness, but as a corrective, as a kind of medicine that we need right now. That we're not dark people. We're light, and we have kindness and warmth in our hearts. And we can share these visions of possibility with all of us. And that to me seems actually more important now, and His Holiness would think the same way. His Holiness doesn't care about a biography about him. What does he mean in the world is how he can help us see our minds, see our hearts, get rid of the afflictive emotions and the root of them, which is a misunderstanding of who we are, and taking the appearance of separation and isolation, which is a lie, removing that, and really embrace this idea that we are a community. And we do share the same values. We want the same for our kids and our grandchildren. We all want the same simple things. And we get distracted by the bad guys and these really horrible leaders that we have right now. We can let it go. But His Holiness also says, and he said this many times to me, and I really take it to heart, is prayer can be very, very powerful. No question about it. But if you want to change the world, you have to be in the world and engage. So it's our responsibility to make this world that we innately know is the true world. But we have to make it. We kind of fell asleep and allowed the bad guys to take over. Take over our minds, our hearts, our physical world. His Holiness is saying, no. You have to be responsible. And it's sacrifice, it's courage, it's commitment, but it's also skill. Very important thing, skill. His Holiness has all those fine qualities, but there are many people who have really extraordinary qualities of depth. His Holiness has skill beyond to go with that compassion and that wisdom. Something extraordinary. He's challenging us to do the same thing. But we have to do it together. That's our power. So the feeling that you shared with us that you were feeling at the end of this film, we can't let it dissipate. Let it work on us and really embrace the idea that that is who we really are. And let it expand in community with each other. And that's how the bad guys don't win, right there. So this movie's a challenge.
So on that note, Richard and Tenzin, the film's already played out quite a lot in America, and so I'm keen to know how audience is receiving it.
Yeah, it's just starting now.
Yes.
We had, well, I was just sharing, the first, that's a 10-minute, the woman came out with a 10-minute part. You think I didn't see that? The first screening we had in New York in a commercial theater, the real opening, and we did a talk like this afterwards, and we've been doing it everywhere. And it's great for us as filmmakers to do this because we really feel firsthand what has been communicated and be part of that. We're just human beings too. We're all in this together. But in the front row, when the lights came up and we came up for the Q&A, there was a teenage girl over here crying. And her mother was next to her, and she was really genuine weeping. Tears just flowing. I saw another teenage girl over here. Her father had brought her to the screening in the movie theater, and she was weeping. And we talked to them. They stuck around. Everyone stuck around like this afterwards, and we spoke. And it was just the kids. They were not able to articulate what they were feeling, which is fine. No, this is not really conceptual stuff we're talking about here. but something had touched them deeply that their normal life isn't doing. Their school isn't doing, their home life isn't doing, their friends are not doing. There's something about spending an hour and a half with someone who is that loving and kind and skillful and genuine that reminds these teenagers of who they really are and what the possibilities are of life. So that to me was just, even those two kids having that reaction was worth the year and a half I've been involved in this.
Yeah, for a long time the film was called Hope, and I think it has a lot to do with this feeling. I mean, a generation who went through COVID, who felt so lost, who is confronted with so many difficult things going on in the world, and then seeing, okay, I mean, we can be part of a change. There is hope. I mean, we didn't want to do a biography about the Dalai Lama, but of course there are elements of it in it, because we wanted to show or make the audience feel that even when you're going through such difficulties like the Dalai Lama did, losing everything, his home, his country, living in exile, and I mean what you added is also when he was raised, it was so difficult for him because he wasn't just this holy Dalai Lama, he was a kid who wanted to play, and it's so important. And seeing how he handles these emotions without anger, without blaming someone, not having fear. I mean, this really, I think, gives hope to each and everyone who sees that, and it reminds us of our core element of being human beings.
And the news of tonight is from New York. We have a holdover. Monday is always a distributor's day, so we are opening another week in New York in the Quad, which is great news. Every show on Saturday and Sunday was sold out, so that's great news. And again, the film has not much to do with Switzerland. You saw it. There are some Swiss clouds in the film, but that's it. It's one thing to make a good film, but it's another thing to release it properly. Nowadays, attention span, and you're all overwhelmed. So in Switzerland, it was in theaters for 5 months and 3 weeks. And we did a really well-structured campaign on all levels, political, educational, religious, and we are seeing so much response coming. Like, first more experienced people were showing up, then they came with their kids. We were seeing students. We were working so much on outreach on all levels, working with all 7 Tibetan groups we have in Switzerland. We're working with all Tibetans, but in the end it was 10% Tibetan themed people, 10% Buddhist related people, and 80% who had no idea from Tibet before. From Tibet and or Buddhism, so it was mindful people, responsible people, as you were saying, they were just open-minded people looking for food for thought, and we were receiving endless emails that they were touched, inspired, just like these 2 rows. And especially I loved all the adjectives, and there was no repetition, and urgent was the one I thought keeps me moving. Like, I cannot explain to my kids that since 6 years we were working on one film. It's difficult. And now they tell me, well, Papa, it's finished. What are you doing? Why do you? So it's really urgent.
You have no idea what a bulldog this guy is. I have to calm him down. He scares everyone. He says, what do you mean that's the best you could do? Why aren't we in that theater? Why aren't we in this theater? Why?
And that's totally against my nature.
Give me one line each on how your families have reacted, how your children feel about film.
feel about this film?
Yes.
None of my kids have seen it. I have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 12-year-old, and 25-year-old. They haven't seen it yet.
My 25-year-old was in tears and watched it, I think, now 5 times.
My son is 12 and saw it and was talking about it for, I don't know, 2 weeks. And this morning, my daughter is 8. She said, "Why do you go to London? You better stay here." I said, it's for this movie. Well, what is it about? I said, "It's about anger." I said, "Well, you know anger?" I said, "Yeah, well, and it's very old knowledge how to work with anger and fear." And so, "Oh, yeah, is there something else?" And yeah, it's the story of the life of His Holiness. It's interesting, and it's a funny guy. And it's the story of Tibet, the history and present and the future. And she said, "Well, one day I want to see it with you." So,
my son hasn't seen it yet, so maybe Homa and he can see it together one day. But I was reminded, we were just in Berlin day before yesterday, and we did a screening in Berlin. We have a international campaign for Tibet, has an office there, and we were honoring 2 very special people who had been working on Tibet a long time. And one of those was Dr. Sophie Richardson, who for Washington and capitals around the world, she's known for her tenacity and her work on,
She came out of Amnesty International and other human rights groups. So she's one of the great people who's been doing it her entire life.
And she saw the film, and she said, emotional, moving, and she said, "I've known and loved His Holiness all this time that I've been in this movement, but I've never seen him as a young man, happy, enjoying himself," and just seeing that, gave her so much joy to know that he had a little bit of that also in his life, because she knows how difficult the struggle has been.
Very quickly, Tenzin, what's it like sitting and all of you, what's it like sitting with the family of His Holiness? Because there's plenty of the family still around. And what's his relationship with the family members?
So His Holiness has a large family. As family members, I don't feel of myself as anything special more than an ordinary Tibetan. And we hold His Holiness as do everybody else. So in that respect, we have that. But then, His Holiness sometimes says, the 13th Dalai Lama didn't have any family members. He was just himself. So I think in that he felt like, in the next lifetime, I'm going to have a lot of family members. So he had 7 brothers and sisters. So my mother is younger, but he had siblings with him. And all his siblings, and you saw his mother, I think they were all brought up as really supporting each other. And when His Holiness was had to confront China, had to leave, begin a life in exile, the family members really helped support him in different ways that they could. So I think they grew up kind of working as a team, and I think it's also credit to His Holiness Mother, who brought them up with, as part of this one family.
I'm hoping that the 5 minutes that we've got left is stretchable. Rani stretchable. Thank you. I've just been given another 5 minutes. Directors Barbara and Philip, can you tell us a little bit about the technical side of this, the uniqueness, how you did it? I've got a kinetic brain, so if you could sort of show us with objects and your hands how you did it, please.
You mean the interview or the whole movie?
How you did.
How you set that up, the
Yes.
Earl Morris technique.
yeah, it's called a direct eye. That's like a thing you put in front of the camera. It has 2 mirrors, so it means I did the interview and asked questions, and when the Dalai Lama was responding, he saw me, but he knew the moment he was responding that he was directly talking to the audience. And I think this was this special thing, because he cared so much to bring his message to each and every one of you, of us. Yeah, so I mean, it's not a big thing, it's not a huge technical thing, but it really helped to really get this connection to the audience.
And who was asking the questions?
I was asking the questions, so it was in a sense a normal interview, but of course, I mean, if you're talking with the Dalai Lama, you ask one question and he has so much to say.
I think
and share.
Barbara's being very humble here. But I mean, it's extraordinary how she was so warm in this process that I think it brought out another level with His Holiness, because this was a short interview. It was a 1-hour interview. Yeah.
Wow.
1 hour.
Yeah, we prepared for 3 hours, but it was a morning where His Holiness didn't feel very well, and his entourage said, okay, from the 3 hours you can only have 1 hour. So yeah, I mean, we then went to transcribe all the big speeches His Holiness has done worldwide to really get this sentence in between the interview we had, to have really a dramaturgy that works.
And that was more than 2 years editing. The last with you, you were bringing us more expertise on all Buddhistic subjects. Like we couldn't get deeper into Shunyata. I still feel sorry for that. But it was a very interesting voyage. How do you say that? Journey. Thank you. And a big privilege. That was before AI, so we really have 600 pages transcripts of all his speeches he ever gave. So, for example, when he opens up, dear brothers and sisters, and speaks about expectations, for example, that's coming from Washington, 86. Other parts are coming from Denmark. He was great in Prague. You know, all his life he has the same messages, but sometimes he speaks like a teacher, like an academic teacher. Sometimes he talks like a wounded healer. Sometimes, like when Václav Havel died, he was so emotional, saying the same time, but this time it comes from his heart. Sometimes his throat was not good for him, but for the sound of his voice, excellent. So it was also a very big audio post-production, that it all sounds like one mold, or how do you say? Yeah. So yeah, it's been a big privilege to work on this film and on this knowledge. Do you want me to tell the story with the archive? So for years we have been asking, in case you find a big box with reels nobody has ever seen, and they were always saying, hey, we have an archive, it's all scientifically approached, and we have been asking, hey, maybe. So when we have already been in New York here with Oren and you, I received a WhatsApp, we found 2 boxes. And they're
in Dharamsala, in the archive.
Yeah, and really big boxes, over 100 kilo, and I don't know how many reels, you remember?
Around 70 reels.
70 reels. We asked them, please open them, but very carefully and take pictures. And we saw from the images that there is mold. Sorry. So you must be very careful, because this is cultural heritage. Nobody has ever seen it, and you should not. If you do one wrong move, you destroy history. And so it was really difficult to bring this material out of India to Switzerland. We were asking to art transportation and insurance. Nobody wanted to take the risk, and we didn't get an export because of political reason. We didn't get an export permission. So in the end, it was Tenzin, one of the secretary of His Holiness, who came with private luggage. Barbara was there at the airport and drove directly to Switzerland. We have a very good digitalization studio. Drove directly, and there were 5 specialists waiting with gloves and really put it very carefully, separating the ones who were totally difficult to work on, the ones that were okay to scan immediately. 1 week later, he left with the luggage, and with all the scanned digital archives, we gave it back immediately, and you were the first one to see those beautiful images look like reality, you know, it's kind of absurd.
Yeah, like from today.
Remarkable, and the voice. If you think about His Holiness's voice and his skin, didn't they look and sound so pure, and barely any makeup, so youthful, so fresh. It's really a wonderful job you've done.
I mean, this is not the job we have done. I think this is meditation and the way how he is that he looks so young. I mean, we haven't done any, like wrinkle getting them away. I mean, this is how he is.
That's what I mean, that the way he's shown in his purity, and we see it so close up. It's really remarkable.
Well, it was beautifully shot, and I didn't know these guys, these wonderful people before, but the third member of their team, Manuel Bauer, is a still photographer, and I've known him for decades, maybe 3 decades I've known him. He's been around His Holiness shooting him and has several books of extraordinary photographs, unexpected, some of which I wish I had taken myself. I'm a little jealous. But he lit this incredible footage, really beautifully done. I couldn't imagine it being better. But beautiful, this central interview that was done by His Holiness. The other thing to I don't know if it's so obvious in here, there's one voice that's heard for this entire movie. It's only His Holiness's voice. And it's only his real voice. It was taken from different places, but there's no AI creating voice or creating sentences. This is all His Holiness for an hour and a half. Nobody else's voice is heard.
So far, the movement, the campaign for Tibet has remained peaceful under the guidance and instruction of His Holiness. Will it remain peaceful?
Well, of course, as long as His Holiness is here. I mean, that's one of our arguments with the Chinese. Look, if you genuinely want to have an agreement with the Tibetans, if it's real, if you want that to happen, do it when His Holiness is here, because there will have to be some kind of a compromise. And His Holiness can make that genuine with the Tibetan people, for sure. Who knows, when His Holiness is not here, there are many elements within the Tibetan community. Some are more confrontational than others, let me put it that way. And we know there was a period of self-immolations that was horrific. What is 150? I forget the exact numbers, over 150 self-immolations over a few years. That's lurking there. Of course, when you abuse people to that extent, you're going to have some challenging reactions to that. As long as His Holiness is here, whatever deal is made will hold. And certainly this nonviolent route is the appropriate one, but it's also the successful one. Because once the end is achieved through nonviolent means, it will hold. The problems will be finished. There's no residue left over. You're burned in the fire of nonviolence. And they'll find a way to continue. His Holiness is a person of compromise. So, again, this challenge to the Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party, make the deal with this extraordinary man.
how His Holiness says Tibet is a culture of peace and a culture of compassion. And I think, I want to try and paraphrase what Richard Lass says in traveling with him with this film and in all these, listening to him and in these interviews. I think the vision of Tibet is that it provides a vision of possibility where people, through His Holiness's message, which comes centrally from this Tibetan culture and worldview of way of life that revolves around taking care of each other and thinking of the other and of the self as part of the other. So I think if there was, and His Holiness says, he's laid the path there through this film, you can see it in so many ways, and if that's adopted, then there's a vision for a future that's not only for Tibet, but for everyone. So I think if we're all thinking of, others, and I think for us, for myself who works in an organization that advocates for Tibet, we are only here because there are so many, we're an organization that doesn't have big government supporters or anything like that. We are grassroots. It's regular people who've been touched by this culture, who've been touched by His Holiness's message, that want to help this culture survive, that want to help the Tibetans achieve a better future and confront this. So I think that's really inspiring, and it's just not, few, it's quite a lot of hundreds of thousands of people who do this. So I think that's inspiring for us, and I think for Tibetans inside Tibet also, this gives inspiration and hope when they know that there's people outside. I'm going to ask Richard La maybe at the end to share that story you tell of His Holiness when he reached the border. And by the way, the Indian officer who His Holiness meets at the border, that's Rani's uncle.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I'm the niece of the late Harmandir Singh, who was deputed by Nehru to locate where His Holiness would come into India from Tibet and to conduct him to safety, which he did over a few weeks. So the two of them formed a really close bond. And so I think we pick it up in the film around 10 minutes in, where His Holiness was kind of shown to the world with other Indian government agents. But my uncle, I saw him there. But it was that missing bit of footage that I told the story about, and called not an officer and a gentleman, but an officer and His Holiness. So although I'm a cynical journalist and hard-nosed, I have an involvement that way.
Can I do a commercial now?
Please, the floor is yours. I'm sure Dechen is going to.
Yeah, look, this is part of a program, the Tibetan Film Festival. And I had a wonderful pasta meal last night with these terrific women who have put this film festival together. And the invitation is to come back and see more films that are part of this. You guys want to come up and speak to it a little bit about what you're doing?
So as we mentioned earlier in our introduction, that we have a festival every year here in London, and the rest of this week we're showing many films. Tomorrow night we're at the Genesis Cinema, where we're showing films from our short film competition, and on Saturday we're going to be at the Garden Cinema as well, and Sunday at the Rio Cinema. So on your way out, we have postcards with our program and lots more information. And honestly, we're also just very thrilled to have this opportunity to host you all and to make this film a part of our festival, which is just such a special experience, even though it was, you know, a lot of last minute pulling together and everything. But I don't know, it was just, you know, it was such a great opportunity to have you all, and it was a very special moment to share with you. So thank you so much. Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity to have the opening night here, and we are presenting in collaboration with Abramarama, who are the US distributor. And you know, we started the Tibet Film Festival in London very small in a 40-seat cinema in 2019, and this is actually our biggest program to date. And this year's festival is our sort of most expansive selection of films in the most number of different cinemas in London. So, you know, I really feel like this is a really fortuitous coming together, because we are growing and expanding as a festival, and we would like to keep doing so in the years to come. So, yeah, we're just very grateful for the support and happy to have you. Rani, do you want to close, or do you want me to close?
I'm going to tell one story. First of all, we're really proud to be here, to be part of this. And the story that Tencho wanted me to tell, I think, is a good closing one here. So you saw the footage of His Holiness escaping. Well, we showed Marty Scorsese's film, Kundun. Has anyone seen it here? Which is very hard to see because because Disney has a deal with the Chinese, and they've taken it out of circulation. It's very difficult to see this film. But we showed it to His Holiness in New York, and it was a small screening with some close friends. And the screening was over. His Holiness was very silent. And we all were we'd seen the film, of course, many times, and we were watching him watch the film. And he wasn't ready to say anything. So we kind of retired to another room, and we had tea and cookies, and after a while I said, Your Holiness, we'd love to hear from you what you think of the film, or what you're thinking and feeling right now. And he said, you know, that moment in the film, which was from my life, when I escaped and I crossed the border into Arunachal Pradesh, into India, with my Kampas, the Kampa warriors, the tough guys that got him out. And once I was there, I saw the Kampas ride back into Tibet. I knew I would never see them again. And then I turned around and looked into India, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a friend. And then he looked around at us and he said, now I have friends everywhere. And I think that's the Tibetan experience. They had to escape into a world that they knew nothing about. No one knew them. They didn't have a friend in the world. And now they have friends everywhere. And now we're friends.
I'm the director of Wisdom of Happiness, and it was such a beautiful experience tonight to show it for the first time to the UK public. People were so moved and they were sharing their feelings and their thoughts, and I'm so thankful for all the people being here and for sharing what they experienced. I almost cried when people shared their thoughts, so thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Chris Law. I'm a Member of Parliament for Dundee in Scotland. I've been a long-time advocate for Tibet, nearly 30 years, and it's been a great privilege to be here tonight and to see such a wonderful film in a unique way where the Dalai Lama gets to speak directly to you, the viewer who watches this great film. I've seen a number of biographies, I've seen films about Tibet, but this one, in one word, I can say what it meant to me, which was hope. And I hope that you get a chance to watch it too if you get to see it. It would be marvellous. Hopefully it's screened somewhere where you live in the UK. Thank you.
I've just come out of the film, Wisdom of Happiness. This is my second screening. It just, right from the beginning, just seeing His Holiness's face and hearing his voice, and I want to keep that alive and do something with those words of hope and compassion, to help anyone I meet, anyone I work with. Thank you so much for the filmmakers for bringing this out to us all public, particularly as His Holiness is 90 years old and he won't be able to travel, and this little voice will help many who are Muslims to watch this film, whoever sees this film, whoever hears about this. So thank you so much.
It's really it's amazing. There's so much more to it than the first time I saw it. I saw so much more in it this time around. It's so humbling. Holiness has that ability to look at his eyes and so humble.
I haven't met the Holiness, but today when the projector just dark, I felt that Holiness is talking to me by myself. So I feel really, really emotional and feel really happy.
The movie was empowering, and it was an alignment for me. What else can I say? And I think everyone should be more thoughtful about what's going on in the world and try to align with each other. Thank you.
Yeah, just watched the film. It was fantastic and very moving. Both me and my partner were in tears by the end of it, and I thought the panel was fantastic. Richard said a very positive thing about taking the spirit of the film and being active and making it happen, spreading the word. And I think that's what it's about. It's not about just personal development, but spreading that sort of desire to make the world a better place, taking responsibility for that.
I just watched Wisdom of Happiness at the Regent Street Cinema, and it was my first time watching it, and I felt very happy watching it. It was very moving as well.
I think the movie was really touching, and everyone needs to watch those movies. Necessary for all humankind. Yeah.
背后叔叔都看到你们大哥，你们大哥回去当然几个人，但是说大哥叔叔，等于说you can relate on a day-to-day basis, how to be more calmer, more peaceful with that. You can relate to.你们大哥都那个 relate to 이기 때문에 항상 약간 가제마와 리스크는 약간도 당시에 보잖아.
I didn't realise, all the struggles His Holiness had gone through, and I think it showed his positivity as well, overcoming all of that. So that was sort of very inspirational. I think it's a film that I think everybody should sort of watch at least once, and I think we could all learn something from it. Especially in that mindset, having a positive mindset, having more of a community way of thinking.
London, Wisdom of Happiness temple, and condom them. Some give share time jail. Richard Gere around the technology. So thinking you shut on. Kundi pöne jagal şundan düz. Any hamada biga original marketinde any böyle parçasını any dikap de charolune kaç halonamda. Kundi çekiş maressambe any ngoçikon any jagal parçasını hatta bu dinalangatan misma kumes kokuçe mes dindik çoğaçı cunsu söylüyor Kur'an'da da sun. Sen tadı kesi dostedüz. Kasık almadı, pepper dinle kapılan çarşas. Dinle doğaderi de London Zombe Cup de la Randı de bunu şut somşa. Randı çok mangut somşa. İşte kim şut?
今年で、何年も続いているチベットの フィルムフェスティバルがロンドンで始まりました。で最初のビルはこちらの、ウィスタム・オブ・ハピネス。ダライ・ラマが1時間半カメラに向かって身を乗り出して話しかけてくれる、とっても感動的なお話でした。とてもタイムリーで、今皆さんにお届けしたいプロダクションチームの心意気と、それから昔からつなげてきた歴史的なアーカイブが見られて、初めて私も見てとっても感動した企画でした。日本に行くかどうかはまだ私は分かりませんけれども、もし日本に届いたら皆さんぜひお誘い合わせで見てください。ロンドンからです。
I've just watched the film Wisdom of Happiness, and I'm very touched. It's always very inspiring.
Heading on to the London Film Festival Wisdom of Happiness here at the Tibet Film Festival London.